Okay, you are not supposed to write them in just 2 or 3 words. You have to translate them into sentences. Like for plan activation. First point is plan activation. Let if a disaster occurs, on the basis of what kind of disaster has occurred, we will activate a specific plan. Okay. For every type of disaster, we have a different plan and different course of action. So first we will see whether the conditions for activation of plan have been satisfied or not, and only then we will activate that plan. So from plan activation you are supposed to write at least that much, that we will see whether the conditions of the disaster have been satisfied or not, and whether the plan can be activated or not. So the first point is plan activation. Now immediately after we activate the plan, we will see whether any emergency procedures are to be implemented. Now what are emergency procedures? It is actually emergency plan. Here it is our immediate response to a disaster. So you are supposed to write emergency procedures. Now directly to 8th procedure, 8th point, you can see it is resumption procedures. Okay, it is basically recovery plan. Resumption procedures. 8th and 11th are basically recovery plan. Just resumption procedures is the business operations which have not been affected because of the disaster, we will just resume them. And if any business operations are affected by the disaster, we will start their recovery and we will see whether what is the loss occurred by the disaster, and we will try to replace them. So this will be included in the recovery procedures. Okay, so after emergency procedures, resumption procedures, and then recovery procedures, 2nd, 8th and 11th. After that, 13th is medical procedures. Do you remember yesterday's example that a fire broke out and it spread to 3 IT rooms? So if a person is injured, we will carry out medical procedures. We will also see whether he can be transported within time or not. So this is what will fall under medical procedures. Now fallback procedures. Now what is fallback procedures? If the room is set on fire, unless and until the action team arrives, the other management and personnel will not do anything. Even if they think they can do it, but they will not be allowed to do it because they have been instructed to fall back. Fallbacks as in they are supposed to cut the power, restrict entry into that restricted area, and wait until the action team arrives on the site. So this is what will be included in the fallback procedures. After that, 18th point is alternate manual procedures. Now what is alternate manual procedures? If the system is not available, and it is down due to some reason, we have to kickstart it or conduct some procedures so that system can get back online and start working. Okay, there are all the procedures which system cannot do it on its own after a disaster. We will include them all in alternate manual procedures. It can also include simple work such as creating documents, creating lists, assessing the loss and all. So this will all be included in alternate manual procedures. After that, testing procedures, 21. Now what is testing procedures? See, in test plan, we were seeing whether the equipment was in place or not and whether it is working or not. So they basically testing procedures will be included in the test plan. we will see whether the equipment is in place or not, whether it is working or not. It is basically a maintenance part, testing procedures, so that if a disaster occurs, the equipment is already updated, maintained, and it is usable. Okay, so you can see I have colored all the procedures with the same color: emergency procedures, resumption procedures, recovery procedures, medical procedure, fallback procedure, alternate manual procedures, and testing procedures. So there are 7 procedures out of 21 points. Once again, emergency procedures is immediate action. Resumption procedure is for business operations which have not been affected. Recovery procedures is for business operations which have been affected. Medical procedures in case there is an injury. Fallback procedures until the action team arrives. Alternate manual procedures such as creating documents or kick-starting the system, and testing procedures, so that we know the testing equipment is updated and maintained properly. For testing procedures, the point is that a maintenance schedule must be maintained to test the equipment. So it is basically testing procedure, maintenance schedule. Okay, let's move on. Now third point is maintenance schedule. Maintenance schedule will be, we will keep updating the plan as per our previous mock drills and everything, so that we have an optimum schedule in case a disaster occurs. After that, we have 9th point is transport arrangements, that if a disaster occurs, we should be able to transport the personnel in an efficient manner. Now, this transport can also mean that we are shifting our data from our working site to another site. As we have seen, if the company has a cold site or a warm site, we need to have this migration arrangements. So this is what will be included in the transport arrangements, not just of personnel but also of data. Then the 17th point is trained employee details. Now we will give a training that how you will be transported from one place to another, one site to another, how data must be sent from one site to another. Okay, we will give this training to the people. Obviously, the employee who will be trained will be more than one, so that if one employee is not available, the other employee can carry out the same. So we will create a awareness of what all the procedures must be followed in case of disaster. So we will keep up awareness and training program, which is the 4th point. And the 5th point is we will assign individual responsibilities and the responsibilities of a leader, what a team leader must do in case of a disaster, and what an individual is supposed to do in case of disaster. Okay, so the second part is, first, a maintenance schedule must be kept. There should be transport arrangements. We should know, we should have awareness programs. We should assign individual responsibilities, and we should know the trained employee details, so that we can communicate to him directly in case of a disaster. So these were the next 6 points. The 20th point, you can just add that a detailed description must be also given. It should not be given within the plan but after the plan, so that you can focus on the plan first, and All the details you can keep it on later so that you can use them if required. You don't need to have everything on document in the main document. So maintenance schedule, awareness activities, individual responsibilities, transport arrangements, trained employee details, and detailed description of plan. We will keep a maintenance schedule so that we ensure that the equipment is updated and is usable. We will keep an awareness program so that employees have the knowledge. It is basically walkthrough. We will assign individual responsibilities. There will be a team leader and key personnel. Then we will keep transport arrangements for not just for personnel but also for data. Then we will know what all employees are trained or not, so that we can communicate to them directly in case of a disaster. And we must have a detailed description of plan so that if there is any query as to any certain clause we are not able to understand in DRP, then we can get explanation for the same in the description part. Okay, these were the next 6 points. Now the remaining points are basically what all documents we have to keep, like emergency phone list. Okay, on the basis of disaster you have to determine which authority you have to contact. It will include insurance companies, fire department, if required police. Okay, so this is what will be included in the emergency phone list. It can be also we are trying to get the help of other organizations if they have more expertise in these types of disaster, like if there is internet terrorism. Now what is internet terrorism? The main site of the company is being hacked. Now police can't do anything. The cyber cell is going to do something. So we will contact only the cyber cell. Fire department cannot help you in such cases. You can also refer to a hacking agency. So that all will be included in the emergency phone list. Depending on the nature of disaster, we have different contacts. Then location of documents, that where the documents will be kept. Okay, these are different types of documents, like routine documents, highly confidential documents, then sensitive documents. Okay, so as per the importance of documents, what will be the location of documents? It will be included in DRP. Then 10th point is vendor phone list. Okay, this is basically the part where we are trying to resume our business operations. We will contact our vendors one by one and tell them that everything is okay now. We can start business again. You can start supplying the material and all. So okay, you have to make sure that this vendor list is preserved by the company and it doesn't fall in case of disaster in the wrong hands, because it is all sensitive information. Then 12th is inventory checklist. Okay, so that why do we have this checklist? So that we know before disaster what all the organization had in its inventory and whether the same is remaining or not after the disaster. If everything is there, then there is no problem. If anything is destroyed, we will go to the insurance company, we will make an insurance claim and try to recover the same. So for that you need to keep a checklist before the disaster. Okay, so this is actually a routine document. It is not a sensitive document or a confidential document. After that, 15th point is backup location. Now we know the emergency phone list, the sensitive documents list, then vendor phone list, then inventory list. Okay, we will keep these documents in one location and we will also have backup of these documents at another location, so that if all these locations were to alternatively be destroyed, okay, anything can happen in internet terrorism. Okay, they will not only destroy your documents, but they will also destroy your backups, so that organization will suffer. Okay, so this backup location is also very critical, and it is included in DRP. After that, insurance documents. Now, why do we need insurance documents? So that our losses will be mitigated by the insurance companies. We need to know whether any specific property which was destroyed in the disaster was insured by the policy or not, and accordingly we will make a claim. And in the end, we have 19th one is employee phone list, because we have to make transport arrangements. We also need to have the trained employee details. Okay, so this will be the master data, employee phone list. List and details of all the people in the organization. Employee phone list. So this question of 21 points DRP contents, I have divided it into 3 parts. First part is basically all kinds of procedures. Second part is we are discussing things, and the third part is what all documents must be maintained. Okay, procedures, discussion, documentation. Okay, this question will come around for either 4 marks or 8 marks. Mostly for 4 marks you have to write only 8 to 10 points, not more than that. You don't have to remember all of them, but if you divide it into 3 parts and at least you can write 2-3 points, that will be sufficient. But I would recommend that you write in detail 7 to 8 points, and the remaining part you can just write the keywords. Okay, so that the examiner will understand that you know the entire content. Okay, if you want to remember this question, you have to see you have to pursue this by first what procedure must be applied in case of disaster. Then after the procedures we will get back our documents, and after we get back our documents, we will start our discussion. Okay, so procedure, discussion, documents. You can remember these 3 points like this, and we can further elaborate these 3 points into further points. Yes, any question regarding DRP contents?